So in today's lecture, what we are going to learn is about parallel computing. So until now, what we have learned about the instruction execution, the different cycles, fetch cycle, decode cycle, execute cycle. So the next thing which is required is how we are able to perform more and more tasks on a computer. And for that, of course, parallel computing was introduced. And we all know that what is mean by parallel computing. So parallel computing, that we are trying to run two or more tasks parallelly. So let us learn what is parallel computing in detail. So traditionally, we know that software has been written for serial computation. What is mean by serial? Serial means where one instruction is executed and then the second instruction is executed. So everything is happening in a serial way, in a serial manner. So to be run on a single computer having a single central processing unit. So previously there was a single central processing unit, CPU, and on that we were having serial execution of the instructions. So how typically that is done on the single CPU? You are able to see in the diagram that we are having our problem. That problem then will be divided into a number of instructions, and those instructions will be one by one given to the CPU. Yes, and these instructions will be executed one after another. That first the instruction one will be executed, then the second instruction, and then the third instruction. So at a particular time, only one instruction is executed in serial computation, where a single CPU is being used. So what are the limitations because of serial computing? Is there are a lot of limitation. We have to consider that first thing is very important is that we are not able to perform the task very fastly. Yes, the total time which is required for execution of the particular task will be more in your serial computers. Then there are other issues such as transmission speed. So where how the data is flowing through the hardware or the software, again there will be limitation on the transmission speeds. Then there will be a limit to a miniaturization. Means what? That how many components we are able to put on a single computer or in a single chip. Then there are economic limitations, that how we are able to create single processor more faster. Yes, because we are having only single processor, and how much amount of money we can uh, invest so that the single processor will become faster. Yes, so automatically what is happening over here, that if you are having a single CPU, then the time which is required to perform a task is of course more. There will be limitation to speeds, there will be limitation to economic. uh, so because of this reason, to overcome all these limitations, the parallel computing was introduced. Let us see what is mean by parallel computing. So what is parallel computing? So parallel computing is nothing but uh, use of multiple computing resources to solve a computing problem. Yes. So here what we can decide, so we can have multiple CPUs, as you are able to see in the diagram. So there are multiple CPUs, and you are able to see that there is one problem. Now what happens in a parallel computing? In a parallel computing, one problem will be divided into different parts, and all these parts are then again broken down into number of instructions, and these instructions will be given to CPU for execution. So at the same time, you are able to see in this particular diagram. So we have divided the problem into four tasks. Sorry, four parts. And these 4 parts are then again subdivided into number of instructions, and these instructions will be parallelly given to different CPUs, and that is nothing but your parallel computing. So why do we use parallel computing? So there are limitations on single CPU computing. First thing which is very important is the available memory. So automatically the memory which is available on a single CPU is less. The performance is always an issue, that we are able to perform only one task at a time. So there is a performance issue. Whereas in parallel computing, what is happening? We are able to solve the problems which are not fitting into single CPU. So that kind of problems we are able to solve on the parallel computing. We are able to solve those problems which require a little amount of time. So that is being done by using parallel computing. So generally, there are 3 important things in parallel computing. So we are able to solve larger problems. We are able to solve the problems very fastly, and of course more and more problems can be solved in little amount of time. So that is nothing but why we are using parallel computing. So here you are able to see another diagram. So parallel computing, so there are use of multiple computers or processors. Either we are able to use parallel computing means either we are able to use multiple computers or multiple processors for a particular task. And each processor in this case will work on its section of the problem, and processors can exchange the information. Let me explain you by the diagram. Here you are able to see that there are 4 CPUs, CPU1, CPU2, CPU3 and CPU4. And all these are working on the same problem maybe, but on the different area of the problem. So CPU1 is working on one part, CPU2 is working on one part, CPU3 again on the next part, CPU4 again on the different part, and all these are connected to each other, and all these are able to exchange the data in between them. So that is how problems are being solved by using parallel computing. So either I can use multiple processors, or either I can use uh, multiple computers also in parallel computing. So there is one concept that we have learned in Java also. There is a concurrency or parallelism also. So under Java, we were learning about multi-threading concept. Under that, you have seen this, that there are different threads in a particular program. And what happens in a concurrency? So in a concurrency, thread 1, as you are able to see that thread 1 will be executed first, then it will be stopped for some time, and then thread 2 will be executed. Again, thread 2 will be executed for some time, then it is stopped. Then thread 1 will be executed, and again thread 2. So this is called as a concurrent execution. So one by one execution is there. Though there are 2 threads, those are run or executed concurrently. That is called as a concurrent execution. Whereas in parallel execution, you are able to see that there are again 2 threads, but both the threads are executed at the same time. So that is what the difference between concurrent execution and parallelism. So what are the basic components which are required for a parallel computers? So we require processors, of course. We require multiple processors over here. Then memory, again, you require memory for taking the data. Also, what we require is the interconnection network. So if there are multiple CPUs, if there are multiple memories, of course, what you will require is the interconnection network in between them, so that they are able to exchange the data between the CPUs as well as memories. So what are the different classes of parallel computers? So parallel computers are classified based on the distance between the computing nodes. So there are many classes of parallel computers. Let us learn them. So there is a multi-core computing. Yes. Now generally in today's world we are all using mobiles, and in the mobiles we are having octa-core or quadra-core processors. So what is mean by these cores? So a multi-core processor is a processor that includes multiple execution units. Yes. So here we are having multiple execution units on which we are able to perform multiple programs at the same time. Yes. So that is called as a multi-core computing. Similar to that, there is also symmetric multiprocessing. What is mean by symmetric multiprocessor, which is generally called as a SMP, is a computer system with multiple identical processors. So here there will be multiple identical processors, and those will share the memory and are connected via a bus. So in the bus architecture we have seen that, so there is a system bus which contains a data bus, address bus, and control bus. So via these buses, these multiple processors are connected, and how many processors you are able to connect is generally in SMP, that is symmetric multiprocessor, you are able to connect 32 processors. Yes. So that is nothing but symmetric multiprocessing. Then there comes as a distributed computing. What is mean by distributed? As the name itself is suggesting, that you are having distributed computer systems which are placed at different locations, and these will be sharing the distributed memories, as well as those are connected by using a network. And distributed computers are highly scalable, means you can add more and more computers into distributed computing. So multiple computers you can add. Generally this kind of architecture is, or this kind of a computing is used in banks. So in banks what happened, that suppose we can take an example of an SBI. So SBI has a branch in Mumbai, as well as in Nasik, as well as in Pune. So all those are connected, and they are having their own different servers. So distributed computing is nothing but where we are having different processors, different computers which are working at the same time. Similarly, there is a cluster computing. So what is mean by cluster computing? So what is mean by cluster? Cluster is nothing but a group of loosely coupled computers that work together closely. Uh, so we are able to create the clusters where there are multiple standalone machines which are there, and all these are connected. So we'll see in the next slides that there are some Beowulf clusters which are implemented. Similar to that, there is a massive parallel processing. So we have seen symmetric multiprocessor. Similar to that, there is a massively parallel processor. The name is given as massively. Why massively? Is we are able to connect in symmetric multiprocessor, we were able to connect only 32 processors. Here in a massive parallel processing, we are able to create connect hundreds of processors, and of course they are having their own memory, own operating systems, and of course they are able to communicate with each other by using a high speed connection. So that is nothing but a massive parallel processing. And then there is a grid computing. So grid computing, we have just seen the example of a grid. So here it is nothing but the we are using a internet to work on a given problem, means how the communication takes place. And we are using some middleware softwares which is communicating in between the operating system and other networks. So these were the different classes of parallel computers. So who are using these parallel computing? So everywhere today we are using these parallel computing. So whether let it be academic, let it be government, let it be industry applications, let it be research, let it be vendor systems. So everywhere we are using these parallel computing. So the different types of parallelism, there are two extremes. Either we can have parallelism of data, or either we can have parallelism of tasks. So what is mean by data parallelism or data being parallel? So here each processor perform the same task on a different data. So data parallelism means we are having multiple processors, but the multiple processors are working on the same task but having different data. Whereas task parallelism is what? Here, each processor performs a different task. Yes. So example is written as signal processing. So most applications are either using the data parallelism or task parallelism. And there is also bit level parallelism or instruction level parallelism. So parallel computing is not just only having multiple CPUs and executing multiple tasks. So
Hello.
just we have seen massively parallel processors and distributed or cluster computing. So why to use parallel computing is the primary reasons are saving the time, of course, solving the larger problems that we have seen, provide concurrency, or we can say doing multiple things at the same time. The other reasons might include taking the advantage of non-local resources, where we are using the wide area network, and we are able to use more and more resources by using parallel computing. Cost saving is there, of course. Why cost saving is there? So we are able to perform more and more tasks uh, and overcoming the memory constraints. So different memories you can have uh, in parallelism, and we are able to perform more and more problems. And cost effectiveness means that though in terms of buying the multiple processor, buying the multiple memories can cost you, but if you look at how much amount of work can be done, so of course parallel processing is cost effective. So uh, those things are written over here. So we are able to connect a large number of processors into parallel. Then very high computation power is provided, and we can use this high power for solving. So this is just an example of parallel computing today, that in Japanese Earth simulator machine, we are able to use multiple computers, multiple processors, multiple memories. Similarly, a second example is shown as Bevel cluster, where we are again connecting. You are able to see in the diagram that there are multiple processors connected with multiple devices. So like this, parallel computing is nothing but where we are able to perform more and more tasks parallelly, and there are different ways how we can perform parallel computing. So all those things we have seen. So thank you for watching.